recording is in progress, sorry.
I can't see Elena. Is she online?
We seem to lose her for a moment. Let's give her a couple of minutes. Maybe she lost connection and she will come back.
How about?
I think.
Sorry about that. I just went out of Zoom. So, good afternoon again, and welcome everybody to the webinar. So my name is Elena Zamuranu. I'm part of the TESI team of Hellenic Open University. That is the Greek partner of the TESI project. TESI stands for Training and Education in Social Innovation, and you're going to learn more about it in a minute. I just wanted to say again, as Sisi said, this is a webinar series we created in order to discuss different aspects of social innovation of different partner countries that we had in the project. This is the last webinar, and I'm going to put in the chat the link of the YouTube channel if you're interested in watching the previous recordings, so you can. So this webinar today, the title is Strengthen the Role of Civic Society Through Participatory Design. It is organized in 3 different parts. So the first part is a small introduction on the TESI project and the joint master which the TESI project is aimed to develop. The second is about having 2 case studies where participatory design was used in order to strengthen the role of civic society. And in the third part, we have invited some participants to give us a few more comments, either on participatory design or on social innovation, and also present additional projects from Greece. So I'm going to give the word to Konstantinos Mantsos to inform us about the TESI project.
We don't hear.
You hear me?
Now much better.
Okay. Can you see the
yes, we can see.
Okay, perfect. So as Elena said, we'll give a brief presentation on the TESI project, the Training and Education in Social Innovation. My name is Konstantinos Mantsos, and I'm a researcher with the TESI Research Group in Hellenic Open University. And the TESI project is a partnership that includes 6 different academic institutions and is led by the University of Bologna. And together with them is the Hellenic Open University, the University of Venice, the University of Belgrade, the Faculty of Philosophy, the University of Tirana, the University of Zagreb, and the Institute for Social Studies in Koper from Slovenia. Together with them, there are some associate partners that are interested and can also be connected with the aims of the project. such as the Center for Legal Environment in Albania, the Association for the Promotion of the Culture of Cooperation of Non-Profit in Italy, also the development agency in Unasana Canton in Bihać in Bosnia and Herzegovina, the Uni-Andrion Association of Universities of the Adriatic Ionian area in Italy, and also the Ministry of Economic Development and Technology in Slovenia. This project is funded by the Interreg ADRION project, so it involves institutions from all ADRION countries, and objectives of the projects, first of all, is to raise competences and skills in social innovation. So these webinars, of which this is the sixth one, the last one, has this serves this first project objective, and together with other activities that follow the same guise.
Konstantinos,
Yes,
I'm sorry, do you move the PowerPoint because we can follow? We see the first slide.
you can see the first one.
Yeah.
Okay. Supposedly it says that it is shared, but it's not moving. Okay, let's try again. Sorry. Now, is it moving? Can you see the?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
We see the second.
Yeah, I'll try to be in the non-presentation mode because I think this is working. So I was talking about the project objectives, and this the first one is to raise competence and skills in social innovation, while the second one is to establish a network of universities and research centers, the one that are participating, but also others that can come in later, that can define and implement a joint master's program on social innovation. The program, the joint masters, it's going to be accredited in at least 2 of the participating members. And the outputs, talking about the outputs of the project, is the action plan for the preparation of the joint master, the strategy for the preparation, and also an innovative transnational network that has a scope to move further than just the joint masters, but to go on and connect key players in the social innovation ecosystem in the ADRION area. This the idea about the future master is that it's going to be a joint degree that participants will have the chance of attending one specific university for some courses modules and another one for some other course modules, and with recognition of study periods abroad. At the same time, the joint masters will be accredited, at least, as I said, in 2 of the participating by 2 of the participating members. It supports the mobility in general, mobility of students and mobility of professors. The idea is that the joint masters will, first and for all, will be will have a learn by doing approach. Meaning that will foresee internships at the business partners that can be any kind of NGOs, SMEs, or research institutions. In any case, key players or key stakeholders in the social innovation ecosystem. So the students of the masters can learn by going in these partners and having first-hand approach on what is social innovation and how to implement social innovation. Then besides, there will be some technical knowledge offered by the cooperation with the business partners. And also there will be study tours on-site visits that will be organized, connecting with innovative companies and industrial sites and research institutions as well. there is the our understanding of social innovation. It stands on three columns. First of all, it has to, in order to have social innovation, we need to satisfy human needs, that material or immaterial, that are not met at the moment of the social innovation starts. The also needs to empower marginalized social groups through enhancing their capabilities, and also by increasing their visibility, their recognition in the social sphere. And last but not least is changes in social initiate changes. Social innovation initiates changes in social, in power and governance relations within the community and society at large, which means this, you can see that there is a continuum here, starting from the need, the existing need, that will take us to the empowerment of the people that are involved, the people that their needs are followed, and at the end, this social innovation will at the end bring structural change. On the right side of this slide, you see some of the topics that we have focused on during this first planning of the joint masters. And of course, this will not be the only ones, but this is the initial base that we are moving forward from. And I said before, this webinar series, among which this today's is the last one, follows the idea of trying to bring some to bring people that have already implemented social innovation of some kind, give us examples, and open up a discussion of what is or what can be social innovation in the ADRION area. As Elena already said, today's webinar will look into the ways that how participatory design can empower furthermore civil society, and how can introduce social innovation through actually co-creating innovative solutions. You can follow us in these. This is our webpage, and also this is our LinkedIn account where you can follow all the news. And of course, you can write to us if you're interested. If you have any further questions, you can contact us, and we will be happy to connect you with the social innovation ecosystem. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Konstantinos. I've put the links of the program also in the chat for your convenience. Stay connected. We're also organizing a summer school in the summer. So if you would like to participate, you can find more information there. Now we can move to our second part. So I'm going to introduce you to Dimitris Poulios, which is a PhD student in urban geography and is also our urban planning expert and co-founder at Commonspace Cooperative. Hello, Dimitris. So he's going to give us more insight on how participatory design is strengthening the community at large. So, Dimitris, the floor is yours.
Yes, give me 1 minute to share the screen. Can you see the screen?
Just a minute. Yes, now.
Okay, Perfect. So thank you all for the invitation. As Elena said, my name is Dimitris Poulios. I'm an architect and urban planner, and I'm a member of Commonspace.
Dimitris, sorry for interrupting.
But you can see, yes, sorry.
Yeah.
I need to change a bit. Do you see the full screen or not yet?
We see the PowerPoint now, but not in presenting view.
Okay, let's give it a minute because it doesn't seem to work. So you cannot see the slides moving forward, no?
No.
Okay. One moment. It should work in a minute.
Now we see full screen.
Okay,
You want to test the moving?
I will try. It seems to go a bit slow.
Yes,
Okay, it
you're
changed.
good to go.
Okay. Let me see if I also can have my. Okay. As I have said, my name is Dimitris Poulios. I'm a member of Commonspace. Commonspace is in Greece in 2012. Initially, it was created as a network of, again, we seem to have problems, correct?
Yes, I just.
Okay, give me one moment. I will try to. Make it a PDF and. Can you see my screen now? A bit better.
Yes, we see the PDF. And it's moving.
Okay. It seems to work. Okay. No, unfortunately, I will remove I think that they have some connection issues.
Okay, maybe you want to close your video and only the share screen to.
Just one moment to change the network.
Technical difficulties.
Okay, it seems to work.
Okay, let's give it a try.
Okay, we start again. Sorry for that. I think
No
that-
problem. We all
Yes.
have gone through technical problems in Zoom.
Yes, yes. As I have said, I'm a member of Commonspace, and my presentation will focus more on our work on advocacy and issues related to urban and spatial planning, but also civil rights and community engagement, with the umbrella, of course, of participatory planning, which is the main focus of our work. So, as I have told you, Commonspace was initially founded as a network of professionals back in 2012, and as a cooperative and employee-owned company in 2017 with the name Commonspace. Before that, we have had several other names, but this doesn't matter. Provided services in a variety of fields, but within a name targets promoting participatory processes in urban governance and planning initiatives and enhancing community development in Greece. I need to mention that, let me check again if everything is working correctly. Okay. I need to mention that it is important when we talk about social innovation and generally all the efforts that have to do with community development, the local context. Our firm was established in a period where there were a lot of political and societal dilemmas in Greece, but also in the rest of Europe. I need to remind that we had an economic crisis in 2012 and 12. This led to a political crisis in Greece that affected a lot the decision-making process in different fields. Hence, I think that the demand for justice and democracy was also a call not always only towards politicians, but also towards experts and professionals to rethink the process that we do things, how we design cities, how the governance system is formed and it works, but also how local communities could play a more crucial role in the decision-making process. And I think that this is very important when we talk about advocacy in planning, but also in the process of civil rights. I must also highlight the fact that the Greek governance system is not something that traditionally favors those initiatives, like we have in other cases in Southern Europe, like Spain, or in Central and North Europe. It's very hierarchical, it's very top-down. So this condition created an extra difficulty in order to introduce participatory processes in different stages. All this led us to discuss and talk about, of course, participatory planning and community development. I don't know how many of you are familiar with these terms and methodologies. Participatory methods were very famous during the 70s and the 80s in Europe, and particularly in Southern Europe, as that were linked also with the process of transition to democracy and let's say a process of democratization. We have, in a way, second wave and a second participatory turn the last decades that was triggered through the crisis process, in a way where many initiatives tried to be more bottom-up and less top-down. And in a sense, the lack of participation was considered to be one of the main issues in different fields like urban planning or urban development, or generally in the production of in the process of city making. It was also a political demand, of course, in a sense, but the main issue that we had in Greece was the lack of experience. As I have told you, we have very little institutionalization of participatory processes. We have very little stakeholder engagement, mostly in environmental protection processes, and this created many problems that needed to be dealt with. So, in a way, all of our projects can fit in these three main categories. We work, of course, bottom up with the social movements, community networks, and local and municipal authorities. But of course, also we work in a sense down with national government institution, regional government institutions, and of course through, in a way, the European Union projects that fund a lot of initiatives in these directions. In a way, our projects are try to be experimental and work both in research and design. This is something that doesn't work very well most of the times, but is an effort to, at the same time, produce end results where that is very important, where you work with local communities, but also do research in order how to improve things, how to improve, how to introduce policy direction that will help all these processes. And all this, again, turns around the general question of institutionalization and how this process could be more embedded in our governance framework. This is just an overview of some of the projects that we have worked the last, let's say, 5 years, mostly. We have worked a lot with in the fields of sustainable development, in ICT, with urban design, and with school communities, with different kinds of projects that had a variety of stakeholders. And we have worked a lot with vulnerable communities and communities that, let's say, like the Gavdos community that you can see in one of our first projects, that are neglected and not easily open to this kind of methods. We work in different fields. Participatory processes could be a tool for education, for cultural heritage, for community building in general. But I think that the most, in a way, the thing that mostly interests us is how we're going to use these tools in order to empower civil society and local communities in order to achieve their goals. In the two projects that I'm going to present you, we think that we have, in a way, done that. The first project is called local watch, and it has to do with empowering local communities and increasing participation in issues that have to do with local administration and municipal authorities. And the second one is called Participatory Lab. It is it's a project / network, I would say, that focuses on creating a network that will help local communities again with issues that have to do with climate change adaptation and mitigation. So Local Watch is a project developed by Vuli Watch and Commonspace. The main aim of the project is to create tools and a platform that will empower local communities, giving them the opportunity to monitor the activities of local representatives, like delegates in a community council. And at the same time, the platform will function as a meeting point for the local community and grassroots initiatives where citizen groups could collaborate towards the specific goals and targets. It's in a way, let's say, a meeting point for local grassroots initiatives. Some information about the project. So the whole idea is based on the successful case of Vuli Watch. For you that don't know Vuli Watch is a platform dedicated to transparency and monitoring of the Greek parliamentary process and legislative procedures. So, and Vuli Watch is not only a platform, but it's also a collective that was formed around this initiative. So the platform was developed by the group Vuli Watch, who had the idea of expanding this work that they have already done for the Greek Parliament to the local level of the municipalities. Vuli Watch was responsible for developing the methodology and the tools for the platform, based on their experience, of course. And Commonspace was responsible for all the stakeholder engagement process, the community engagement process, and contributing in the whole development of the platform and trying to see how the wishes of the local communities could be moved in the whole design. The whole project was funded by the Active Citizens Fund, an initiative part of EAA grants from Bodotsaki Foundation in Greece. And a few things about the participatory process. It was undertaken into two major stages in the 4 municipalities that were part of the project. The first stage was workshops aimed in receiving input from local stakeholders around the tools of the platform, to create the thematic areas and the different ways of local communities envision the online tools of participation. This is, as you can understand, a very important issue as we have a proliferation of online tools and platforms, and we wanted something that would be really useful for local communities. We had a very good participation process, more than 100 participants representing different community groups, NGOs, local administrative, local parties that are represented in local administrations in the 4 cities. The events took place between January 2022 and January 2023. And the whole plan is the platform that is already online, but in a beta form, will launch eventually, let's say, in the end of the year. The second stage of the workshops functioned more like a testing ground for the platform. So after the 8 months that we had from the first round of workshops, the developers team moved forward with all the necessary tools in order to create the platform. And in the final workshops that we had, these tools were tested. So which are the tools? In a sense, we had The whole platform is structured around 5 main components that you can see in this brief title. So the first one is called as the politicians. The second one, share your ideas. The third one, co-creating the budget, participatory actions, and evaluate your municipality. I'm going to describe them very briefly. So the first component was modeled around what's Ask Your MP component that they had in their platform, which in a way it's a component that provides the citizens with the opportunity to send questions to elected representatives in the local government. The questions as well as the answers will be published on the dedicated profiles of each elected representative, which will be hosted on the platform. The second component that had to do with the share your ideas, as you can imagine, is a kind of crowdsourcing tool, which citizens will be able to draft their own policy proposals. This will be made public on the dedicated section of the platform, and will be open to for comments and suggestions and voted by interested citizens. The proposals reaching a certain amount of unique votes and signatures will be automatically forwarded by the platform to the relevant municipal authority. I need to say that the whole structure is based in a way that you sign in as an individual or as a group, and you have your profile, and in a way, it's like a social media platform dedicated to these specific issues. The third component that is something that I think it's very interesting. It has to do with participatory budgeting. This is a component that requires also the support from the local authorities, and it's something that cannot be very easily implemented without their help. But in a way, what we provide in the platform is the ability of local authorities to present budgeting issues, budgeting tools, the structure of the budget, and giving the opportunity to citizens and citizen group to comment on that or even vote. The fourth tool, that's called participatory actions, it's a digital forum in a way, and acts as an incubator for volunteering activities, giving them the opportunity to different participants of the platform to share events or actions that people can join or volunteer. And finally, we have evaluation section where people and citizens and groups can vote and evaluate their municipality based on different things, from infrastructure, cleanliness. So we have different themes that were developed during the workshops that are in a way voting options for the evaluation. I'm going to show you in the end how the platform is structured in the internet. So, but I'm going to move now to the second projects, and then I'm going to present you both of them. So advocacy planning is something that we do. It's in a way our main activity, our main interest, as the majority of Commonspace members have this background. So the project is called Participatory Lab, Laboratory of Spatial, Urban and Environmental Participatory Planning for Climate Change Adaptation. Participatory Lab is an effort to create, in a way, bottom-up network of experts structured around Commonspace, but also independent experts that could help municipalities and local communities to deal with climate change and mitigation and adaptation challenges. So we can say that's a broader initiative by Commonspace to, in a way, move our experience of participatory design and participatory methods to the broader public and share these tools with the wider community. And it's an effort also to create a bottom-up governance process and that's also a democratic right in a way that will influence and will be influenced by participatory methods and will give the opportunity for participants to share their ideas and share processes. Again, as local watch, participatory lab works also with members. So people that want to share their experience and meet members of the network, they can sign into the platform, and they can have access to the resources of the participatory lab and the community that's creating at the same time a community around the project. So the main theme, of course, is climate change adaptation and mitigation, with a focus on the built environment and green areas, and with an aim to promote in Greece natural-based design solutions. It aims, of course, to create an interdisciplinary community that studies and documents all these issues, with an emphasis in green infrastructure projects. The participatory lab consists of scientists, professionals dealing with these issues in different scales, but also with members of the local authorities. This is very important because we can, in a way, learn what are the problems, try and find solutions, and share ideas quickly. It has, and the vision, of course, is to create a community structure around these issues in Greece. In a way, it's a community of practice, something that it's very common in similar endeavors in Europe, that wants to support different stakeholders from municipalities and regions to designers, to researchers, students, and of course, civil society groups and organizations. To do so, the platform has a repository of different tools and data that are open and can be shared with the public. And one of the most interesting things that it has done the last 2 years that it function is it is that all this is in a way condensed and joined together in a conference that we try to do every 2 years. The first conference was done in 2021, and the second one will be done in October of 2023, and in order to create a meeting point for the community to bring new ideas, and also a testing ground for new experience and new project in these fields. So all this, in a way, and this is the last slide for the presentation, has to do with promoting participatory processes, promoting more engagement with the local communities. This, of course, it's a very difficult process. It's a process that needs to you need to confront with many dilemmas and problems that have to do with experience, willingness of local communities and institutions to participate in these issues and and follow this kind of processes. But in a way, we think that it's a way to move forward. As you may know, community engagement and increased participation is a key issue in all the projects that are funded from the EU in the next programming period. And it's something that local administration we see every day that try to bring it more and more to the table. And of course, we're in, I can say, in a better position than 10 years ago, but of course, it's an ongoing process that we need to struggle more and more in order to achieve things. So before I'm going to stop sharing one moment to just very quickly show you the two platforms. One moment. So Of course, it's all Greek to you because both the projects are dedicated to the Greek audience and need to be. We're now in this is the local watch for Athens municipality. We have different platforms from each city for Patra, Iraklion, and Thessaloniki. As you can see very briefly, we try to have a very let's say, interested design in order to make the platform attractive for citizens. We're in a process of translating many of the components in order for migrant communities to be able to participate in all this process also. This is the page with the thematics that were created during the workshops. I'm going just to, it has to do with athletic processes, with entrepreneurship, with cleaning and sanitation, with the green city, with culture. So these are the main themes that people could participate in. And you can see that how this box is in a way imitate a social media platform in order people to like, dislike, participate, comment, and make this something that's very common for them to a common function for them. So this is the local watch, and this is the participatory lab. It's we have some resources in English, but most of them it's in Greek. So the main idea of the whole, so it's a very typical site that presents different projects that have to do with the theme of the participatory lab, as you can imagine. What is, I think, the most important thing is the repository, because we have a toolkit that it's one of the first efforts to have open data around climate change and environmental studies and all these kind of things that municipalities can use and local communities can use and download them for free. And the whole idea of the community of the participatory lab actually is to strengthen this repository in order to make them more attractive for to make like an online database around these issues. I will stop here. Sorry for the delays in the beginning and the technical issues.
No problem.
Thank you a lot.
Thank you very much, Dimitris. So we saw in both cases that presented Dimitris the role of participatory design in fostering social innovation. In both cases, participatory design empowered either individuals or society actually to shape their own future. So we do think that there is a transformative potential there in driving social innovation. So I'm not going to tell anything else because we invited some persons to speak about this, but
Helena, you're muted.
I'm muted. And now from where? All the way through?
Όχι, λίγα δευτερόλεπτα έχασες, προχώρα.
Εντάξει, okay. So as you saw from the presentation of Dimitris, there are a lot more projects to explore of Commonspace that uses also participatory design. Now we will move to our third part. So I would like to call more speakers. Let's start with two participants that were collaborated on a project. That's why I'm presenting the two at once. So I would like to welcome Mariana Kondilidou, which is a PhD candidate in political science and international relations. And she is also head of the project's implementation unit of LDK Consultants. And I would also like to welcome Vasilios Bellis, which is a chemical engineer, and he is the coordinator of the Entrepreneurship Support Center of the Development Agency of Karditsas. Hello, Vasily. Hello, Mariana.
Kalispera. Hello.
Kalispera, hello.
Shall I start? So I should share my presentation, eh?
Please.
Okay. Give me a minute. Do you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. I will not put it on a presentation mode to avoid delay.
Okay.
Okay. We are here together with Vasilis to present you a project called SEED, Social Innovation Ecosystem Development. This is a project funded by European Commission, the DG Employment, and ESF Plus, European Social Fund. The purpose of the program was to create competence centers for social innovation all around Europe, in all European countries. This is a decision of the European Commission, DG Employment, to create competence center on social innovation in all the countries, in all the member states. And in order to facilitate and to design how these competence centers will look like in the future for the next period of structural funds financing that started in 2021 and will end 2027, they decide to give 6 projects around Europe, which were consortia formed with managing authorities and the rest of the ecosystem of social innovation all around Europe in all countries. Our consortium was led by Italians, the city of Torino, and it included Greece, Romania, and Slovenia. So the purpose of these projects that ran for 2 years were to, in a way, investigate a little bit the current situation in every member state on social innovation and how these new competence centers will look like.
Mariana, excuse me, are you using the PowerPoint because we're still in the first slide?
No, I'm not using. No,
I'm sorry. I'm just afraid of the technical problems. I'm sorry. Continue.
So today I'm going to present you one of the deliverables of this project, which was the result of the mapping we did on social innovation in Greece, only in Greece. And these are the themes of the PowerPoint presentation. The first topic that puzzled us was the definition discussion. As you understand, the definition of social innovation is a puzzle. Everybody's talking about it, from the academia, the research institutes, the ecosystem itself, and there is no consensus on what is social innovation, as there is no consensus of what it is innovation in general. People are still discussing that. However, we decide, our consortium, and I think the rest of the consortia under this program decided the same thing. We decide to follow the definition that the European Commission is giving on social innovation. And the reason for that is that much of the funding on social innovation in Greece and in other member states will come from ESF Plus. So since the regulation of ESF Plus gives a definition, the majority of the money will be channeled into projects that follow this definition. Because of that, we decide also to shape our thoughts and our activities around this definition. This is the definition that can be found on the webpage of Employment, Social Affairs and Inclusion. And this is the definition that can be found on the regulation of ESF Plus. I will remain on this one. It's not very much different than the definition Desi, the gentleman before, presented. The highlights are mine. You will see that if you read it yourself, you will see that we are talking for a triple helix, minimum triple helix, or multiple health cooperations that have as a target to boost the capacity of the society to act. So we are talking about social relationships and cooperation between various players, the public, the civil society, private sector, the citizens, academia, perhaps, research institutions, on new ideas, products, services, practices, models, procedures. Anything can be seen as social innovation, having the ultimate goal, boosting the capacity of the society to act for its own benefit. So this is the definition we followed. And I just want to show you a couple of web pages to see how important social innovation is for, how important social innovation is for the European Commission. This is the web page of ESF Plus. On the first page, you see social innovation and transnational cooperation as one of the sectors that the European Commission is working. Now, what they do for social innovation, I'm talking for the European Commission, at EU level, they have committed around 200 million euros for grants in transnational projects. One first bunch of these grants were open for tender this year, but there will be more in the future. They have created the European Competence Center on Social Innovation. This is led by the Managing Authority of Lithuania. They will finance national competence centers for social innovation in all member states. And of course, they will create a transnational platform for cooperation and project database. This is still under development. It is in the air, but it still needs a lot of work to be done. So we see that social innovation for the European Commission is a cross-cutting issue. You can see it in multiple EU programs, also in Horizon, in COSME. All these programs support, in a way, social innovation. Now, why they do that? For community development. It is important for the European Commission to enhance the community and the civil society. And this is in compatibility with the new theories of growth that exist at the academic circles and the European Commission is following. And these new theories of growth, they are talking about knowledge and innovation and human capital and cooperation and consultation between the public, the private, and the third sector. And all these together are here to support the European Pillar of Social Rights, which is 20 different targets that the European Commission and the Council of Europe has decided to support. I think that everybody in this room knows the European Pillar of Social Rights. The social innovation is here to support the implementation of the European Pillar of Social Rights. It can be in every of these sectors, things can be done following using social innovation techniques. So from the investigation we did in Greece, we made a mapping. Of course, mapping is a very difficult process. It's an ongoing process. You can't say that you finish a mapping in a certain period. But anyway, we made a mapping just to see what is the current state of affairs in the country. We ran a questionnaire, everybody filled in a questionnaire, etc. And what were our conclusions from this mapping is that we are having an active ecosystem in Greece, although it's not so much advertised, but it is an active ecosystem. Lots of things are happening at local level, on the field, in the ground, as we say, and lots of these projects are extremely interesting and extremely successful. Also, we are having a strong discourse at national level on unmet social needs. I'm pretty sure that other countries would say similar things. There is a discussion from the society on unmet social needs. which is needed for social innovation projects to derive from. There is a strong discussion in Greece about the definition. Everybody has its own definition, private sector, foundations, NGOs. Everybody says, in my opinion, social innovation is this and that. So yeah, there is a discussion definition. This is not bad, it's very good. Ideas, etc. But I explained to you at first why we decide to go with the definition of the European Union. Then we are having frequent public discourse on the media, on the private sector, and on the civil society about social innovation. Lots of people are saying, I have a very innovative project who has done wonderful things, and this is social innovation. Even private sector says that. Even programs of corporate social responsibility advertise themselves as social innovative programs. But there is a rare, not to say null, discussion on public policy about social innovation. The government does not talk about social innovation for the moment. We don't know what will happen in the future, but until now, this term does not exist in the political agenda. The thematic areas we have identified are these ones: environment and circular economy, of course, climate change, digital transformation, smart cities, health, because of the COVID, I think, education, lifelong learning, cultural heritage, poverty, migration, urban recreation, employment, and well-being. These are the sectors that we identify projects on. We didn't find projects on other interesting sectors for social innovation, like, for example, civil protection. There are a lot of volunteer groups, and I'm sure they are doing things on civil protections, but we didn't identify projects on that. There were a lot of projects on digital. Perhaps this is the new trend. I don't know, it's the time, the period we are talking. And finally, who are the stakeholders that we have identified? Well, pretty much everybody. Of course, citizens, individual citizens, solidarity movements, not formal corporations, legal authorities, legal groups, NGOs, associations, social economy actors. We believe that social economy is one of the most powerful ecosystems for social innovation. Foundations, the foundations are powerful in Greece. They finance a lot and various things. So they set the tone in a way. Private sector, either standalone or through programs of corporate social responsibility, they are active. They are very much active. Academy, of course, and research community. Central government is doing some things, not many. And of course, regional and local governments. So now Vasilis will continue. Vasilis, I can change the slide for you. You will continue with the drivers and barriers.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mariana. I have to say that the Development Agency of Karditsa was a partner in this project, in SEED project, and we were not alone. We represented a network, a very active network of social enterprises and consultants. LDK was a member, the most active member of our network. And there were also Commonspace, the Popular University for Social Economy, P2P Lab, the Renewable Wind. There were active social enterprises covering sectorial and geographical of the country. And we are very happy to have all this participation with this network in this project. We learned alone, and we could a lot, and we contributed to this project as well as to other projects through the capacity building activities covering all the countries of Europe. To continue the examples and the results of the mapping process presented by Mariana, I could say that one result was that one conclusion was that in Greece there is a very active ecosystem, and there is a big interest on social innovation from a lot of organizations, any kind of organization of social economy, and foundations, as Mariana told already, corporate social responsibility programs, and so on. As Mariana told also, EU prioritize very high social innovation because we are living in the era of big transformations, and without social innovation it is impossible to address this or to adapt these changes, these transformations into the society, or the society into these transformations. There is a thematic and geographical spread of all initiatives of social innovation. There are few but strong leaders of social innovation, and there are policy tools on the field and from various organizations or institutions. But there are obstacles too, like the complicated and fragmented regulatory and policy framework. In Greece, you know, we have 6 at least ministries involved in the legislation, in the framework establishment of for social innovation and social economy, generally speaking. There is a lack of awareness and knowledge. Mariana presented the ambiguity about definition, about basic issues of social innovation. The social innovation is very low on the political agenda. There is a lack of funding and financing, and also there are strong administrative barriers. There is a weak networking. Of course, during the project and during the implementation of SEED project, there was a big effort to involve and to engage any active organization in these activities, in the activities of the SEED. And there is a lot of people who attended the seminars organized in the frame of capacity building process. Finally, our effort integrated with a pilot implementation, a pilot addressed to needs belonging in vulnerable groups of population. And to end the obstacles, to finalize the obstacles reporting is that there is a lack of strategy and action plan. Of course, in previous months, during the previous months, there is Greek plan for this purpose.
There is a Greek plan for social economy, not for social innovation.
But there is...
It includes actions on social innovation.
Yes.
That's true. But still, in my opinion, we need a new strategy on social innovation.
Yeah, you are right.
Sorry to
Mariana.
interrupt, Vasily.
You know, it was very nice to add this information. Of course, there is a plan for the social economy, but there is some mention in it about social innovation, but we need more defined and more details on this issue. During next period of time, I mean, after some days, we will have some evolution in European level, as I will tell in 2 slides after. Now, about policy recommendations. The mapping process, which was done all over Europe, but Mariana mentioned and gave details on Greek mapping process. There was some conclusions about the policy recommendations. So there is a need for a strategy and action plan for the social innovation, especially for social innovation, because, as we told before, there is one for social solidarity economy. We have, as a country, to update the regulatory framework for the social innovation. We need new financial tools. There are some of them on the field, mainly as exceptions. For example, in Karditsa, we have the cooperative bank, which is very keen to finance or to support local initiatives, but it is not the mainstreaming. And we have to remove administrative barriers. We need more networking to include and engage all active factors, active agents of the field. We need an enhancement role of foundations and the private sector, because private sector is playing very significant role. We in Karditsa we have the participation of private sector in any social innovation initiative developed during the last decades. We need an expansion of the ecosystem and the dissemination of good practices developed in local or sectorial level. Finally, we need an enhanced role of the key leaders, because there are leaders, but they are few. Of course, they are powerful, but they are few. Just to continue, in order to show how we mean the networking process and how this network could be supported by the competence center, we have presented this scheme around the Social Innovation Competence Center. There are the managing authorities, there are the National Advisory Board, there are the transnational partners coordinated by the European Competence Center, which is already established. And we think that a very significant role could be played by ambassadors of social innovation established either in geographical base or sectorial base. All this network could be develop pilot activities, and in the continue they could scale up this pilot initiatives to cover all the country or other sectors. In order to finalize my presentation, I would like to present some last evolutions. As I told, there is a fact, the establishment of European Social Innovation Center, Capacity Building Center, and its task, its mandate is to facilitate the transnational cooperation and the best practice exchange between the national competence centers, as well as the support and the run of platform of best practices and good examples. In the next few days, maybe in next week, until the middle of July, there will be a new call for the support by the European Commission of the efforts undertook by national organizations to establish national competence centers of social innovation in any European country. So we will wait to see this call, and we will be ready to participate in a new effort to enhance the social innovation process all over Europe. Thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you very much for the attendance. I see that there are a lot of people interested in this issue. It is, of course, a very specialized issue, but the results could be produced by social innovation initiatives could be very, very impressive, having very significant impact in local societies. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your insights and for being here. I'm putting the link of the project in the chat, and we are very excited to learn next steps. So we are now moving into the research community, and I'm going to present you Stratos Nalbandis, which is a PhD candidate in spatial planning and development. And he is also a member of the research team Innovatur. So Stratos, welcome. The floor is yours.
Kalispera. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, firstly, for the invitation. It's really important for us to join the rest of the community and the practitioners for the social innovation and the social entrepreneurship also. Allow me first to speak about our project. Our project has commenced on August 2022. It's comprised of 4 members. The length of the project is 2 years and is funded by the Hellenic Fund for Research and Innovation. And the host institution is the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. So a few words about Innovatur. The Innovatur focuses mainly on social innovation and how social innovation contributes to alternative means of development in the urban setting. It's a comparative analysis between the biggest urban centers of Greece, namely Athens and Thessaloniki. And our approach includes field research in the urban setting. And currently we are on this stage. So we conduct interviews with certain key members of the social innovation ecosystem in both cities through interviews and questionnaires also. And the scope of the research is to trace where, how, and in which ways social innovation emerges and how it's related with the local administration organizations. This is very important because the interconnection is very important in the diffusion of social innovation and also in making real. Also, a few words about the theoretical background. As you know, Greece came through multiple crises, including financial crisis, then the implementation of austerity programs. The austerity programs caused a significant challenge in the Hellenic welfare system because, for instance, municipalities cut their budget almost by half, talking about Athens and Thessaloniki. So many institutions which were funded by the municipalities couldn't provide to the most vulnerable people what they need. So social innovative activities emerged and provided the necessary. So it acted complementary to the public system. And in general, within this presentation, we would like to include in the discourse the emerging part of urban commons, not only as resources, but also as public commons, meaning services which are privatized. This is an issue that the majority of the Western world faces. And the question is, how does social entrepreneurship participate in the creation of an alternative development model? Apart from social entrepreneurship, non-formal groups have an important role in this process while demonstrating solidarity. I will try to be as brief as possible because there are many participants. And shall I ask now a question to Dimitris from Commonspace, or we'll finish our presentation first?
You can ask, of course.
Yeah, because the participation topic is very important, because in Greece, we do not participate very much. From a previous experience I had in a presentation in November 2022 in a conference. It was a presentation from Kalamata. It's a city in the south of Greece. And the person who presented the findings from the participation process in municipalities mentioned that not many people participated, from the expected stakeholders. And we were wondering why. They have their ability to speak and to co-shape budgeting issues and other things, and they don't. So my question to Dimitris is, how we will convince the society, people to participate in this participatory process? And in terms of social innovation, how can we make indeed the persons who will use these platforms agents of change, instead of being just clients of the urban and the municipality decisions? Thank you.
Elena, should I respond now, or?
You can do as you feel. I wanted to ask you if you want, we could go after the other speakers, or you can talk right away, because maybe it helps Stratos on his thinking, elaborating on.
Okay, Stratos, thank you for your question. I think that the most difficult thing that we have to address is the lack of any institutionalized process that in a way will make sure that all this participatory process that we will do will lead to a result that citizens are going to see it. And this is the problems in a way that all the projects face, also the ones that we do. That participatory process in a way are not linked to implementation in a sense, and in many cases they are just a flag of convenience for local administrations, that they have to do a stakeholder engagement process, and they need to do it in terms of, in order to to be seen to the citizens that they're doing this kind of processes. But in reality, without an institutional framework that will make them, for example, implement citizen ideas, this in a way leaves no results. So I think that we need many years and many successful projects in order for people to see that this kind of process could work. And the experience that we have from other countries, from UK, from Spain, I think it's similar. What they need building strong communities that participate is something that you cannot do it from scratch. You cannot do it without dealing with cultural issues, and you cannot do it even if you have thousands of euros from EU funded projects. I mean, it's not only that. You need to have the approval from local politicians. It's something that was mentioned in the previous presentation. Today, we're in a condition that social innovation issues and participatory issues are not in the political agenda of the central government, but also it's not in the political agenda of many local administrations. This is a significant problem that we need to address, and it can only be addressed through a community that proposes this kind of methods, follow-ups all the time, and make sure that a new generation of experts will be trained. And this is what is helpful with the TESI program. We will be trained with these methodologies and will use them to their work. I think that I answered the first part of the question. I don't remember actually the second one, if you can repeat it.
Yes, the second part of the question was how to make actually participant agents of change.
So this is, of course, linked with the first aspect. I mean, in a sense, and this is what, for example, the Local Watch platform tried to do, is to make local citizens that are already agents of change to come together through to create a meeting point from them, to create something that will make them meet other people that have the same ideas, and then make them make their initiatives more stronger. And but of course, this is something that it's a project. In order to be achieved in a greater scale, we need a new kind of legislation that will make people more involved. There are many examples of how citizens can be involved in design processes in many European countries. We lack this legislative framework in Greece, and what we also lack is that in processes that, for example, you come from a special plan background, and I'm sure that you're aware of that. For example, in Greece, participatory process and not even basic stakeholder engagement processes are not part of the urban planning process. So we need to find ways for people that are already engaged to be engaged more and to be actors of change in their local communities.
Thank you very much. Apart from the answer, you gave also plenty of food for thought for all of us. I have an additional question because you talked about training. I hope I'm not consuming the valuable time of the webinar, by the way.
No.
What kind of competence do you think that the future actors of change would need?
I don't think that they need to have a specific competence. I mean, the will to participate and be engaged in local affairs, I think, is the main issue that we need now. This could be done with people that have a doctoral level of education, but also people that have come from even lower levels of education. So I think that the most important thing is to, for people, and this is what I would describe as a competence in a way, they need to find space and room to participate. And this is, for example, something that it was mentioned also in the previous presentation. In our project, and particularly Local Watch, it was very interesting that there is a huge volunteer sector in Greece around the civil protection. And this is mostly from people that have no particular educational background. They're people that just care for their local environment, for their local communities. And this is, the first step for engagement. And it's interesting to see that, for example, in our local workshops in Thessaloniki, that the majority of the one of the most active local group actually was the local civil protection volunteering group. Had just the willingness to help in this kind of issues. Of course, they have a love of the environment and the landscape, and this was the only competence that they needed in order to participate in the process, of course, that they want to like. And I mean, but we need to understand, because we come from urban planning background, but participatory processes are part of very important in several aspects. In health, as it was described earlier, in migration, and including in how we are going to include migrant populations in our cities and local landscapes, but also in civil protection and in sports. So there are many fields that people could be interested and participate in their own way.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Stratos, you wanted to tell something more on I read it Innovator. How you call it?
I called it Innovator. Yes, mainly, as I mentioned, it's about social innovation and urban development. So we're investigating and seeking to find ways to create alternative urban development. Also, as I mentioned before, we are right now in the process of conducting the field research. Among the questions and the topics we investigate are the networking, and as Mr. Bellis mentioned before, it's also very important to us because it's a part of a social entrepreneurship ecosystem. So the diffusion of the social innovations, also the strategies for scaling up, in particular diffusion or maybe replicating projects, and the strategies to cope with viability issues are kind of important to us. So we're looking forward to speaking in such a forum in the future to discuss about the results of our research.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us also.
Thank you for being here. And we are, of course, excited to hear about your research at the end or in the middle of it. Now, I would like to welcome Gregory Tsardanidis. I can't see him, Gregory. Your camera has an issue, and I'm going. We would like for him to share his thoughts and also an example on participatory design. Now we can see you. So Grigoris is a researcher and an interaction designer and member of Open Lab Athens, which also has a lot to do with participatory design. Grigory, hello.
Hi there. So I would be very brief. I'm a member of Open Lab Athens. We are a research collective and technology lab, and we work on civic technologies. and how they can help people make their life better, obviously. And we try to co-design and co-develop the technology with the citizens. So one thing is to design technology together with citizens, and the other one is to actually develop it. We understand technology as a means to change, so it's part of a social innovation process, but we also acknowledge the importance of maintaining technology and maintaining social structure. So we have a quite critical response to this innovation hype that there is around in proposals or in public discourse. So we try to be to focus on the usefulness and of our interventions and how they can change everyday lives and maintain existing infrastructure or new infrastructure. So we work on this concept of infrastructure and creating infrastructure for citizens, with citizens, for groups. Dimitris Poulios just mentioned about the civic protection, and actually that's the case I'm going to present very briefly now from one of our engagements. It's part of the European project called Smart Local Administration. It's about using new technologies to create social innovation with citizens and municipalities. There are 3 pilots in Italy, in Belgium, and in Greece. I will talk briefly about the Greek pilot. I will share my screen now. I hope you see my screen, right?
Yes.
You see a map, yes. So I will start with describing our co-design efforts with the local civic protection unit. They're all volunteers of the municipality of Thessaloniki. Thessaloniki has a strong history of maintaining civil engagement, either for getting the park they needed. There was a big park that was private, and they managed to make it municipal. And this is the firefighting team, and we have a co-design session to understand their needs and try to co-design solutions to their needs. So we bring them all together, and some municipal employees and all the members of the firefighting team, and try to see actually on a map what are their main places where they take action and what they would need to make everyday operations better. This is very interesting about maintenance that I was talking about, a homebrew database system they made as volunteers to keep all their data, the members, all the CIVs they did, etc. It's actually made in a language that is not operational anymore in new Windows version, and it was made by a volunteer, and it has been maintained since the late 90s. So it's very interesting how a DIY infrastructure was able to be maintained for years and be very specifically made for the needs of the team, but still, especially younger members thought that this should be innovated, and they wanted a new system. And so that was one of the services we have co-designed and we are about to co-develop. So in this case, we see how we have homebrew systems that actually still work, but are not very usable, not very professional, and have some issues. And as people that were to sustain them, they won't exist in the near future, the team is ready to embrace some kind of innovation in their everyday operations. And the other was this tower, where this is the tower actually, where they want to implement an IoT device as a weather station with Arduino, and that will provide data for the weather in the area, which is quite important for a firefighting team. And we had this co-development session now that we brought an old member of the firefighting team who happens to also be an expert in IoT, and bring it together to co-develop the actual weather station. So here is the Arduino plate, and the team by themselves actually co-developing the intervention. This is very important because they will actually know how it has been made and know how can they maintain it in the long term. So we try to see how innovation can have both technical but also social consequences. So people get empowered in creating together the technology they use, and especially in the case of a firefighting team that is self-organized and democratically run, it makes much more sense to also have the technology being implemented in the same way. So this was a very small contribution from our team on this discussion on innovation, which also has a social and a technical term, and maintenance, which also has both angles.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm also giving the link in the chat. By the way, we will send all the links in all participant lists, so you can see more on the different projects and the different groups and cooperatives, of course, who have spoken today. Now, I would like to welcome Georgia Bekridaki, and I would like her to share some thoughts on the topic. Georgia is a PhD candidate in sociology, and she is a social consultant and a member of TOC Social Solidarity Economy Zone. So, Georgia, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for all the presentations, and thank you very much for inviting me. I'm a member of DOC. DOC is a supporting structure for social solidarity economy in Greece, and that's also my field of research and my field of practice. I'm gonna be really, I'm gonna give some very briefly some comments because it's like a long 2 hours here, so I'm not gonna take a lot of time. I would like to comment mostly to Dimitri's presentation regarding the local watch, taking as an opportunity to discuss about participatory processes when we have to do with policy making. I try to also I took some inspiration from all the speakers. So regarding terminology, I would like to comment that behind, as we know, behind different terminology, there are different concepts, and there are different strategies and different missions. It's not, I think that it's not how to decide to choose one. I think that the institutions that they use a term, they use it for a reason. That's why regarding local watch and participatory lab, for me it's more, it suits better to use a concept more in a more transformative way of social innovation. More, maybe you can say the transformative social innovation concept. And what's that? Because they coincide that both transformative social innovation concept and the local watch, they aspire for a more just, sustainable, and resilient societies. In terms of local watch, I think for more resilient and strong democratic procedures. So I think that suits better to see it from that point of view, because it tries to challenge some existing reality. And the existing reality, what said, that the people, they don't have much trust to the political institutions, either because they don't know what's going on there, either because they don't have information, either because they don't have the room to assess or to participate. So I think that project creates a space for people to monitor the elected, and at the same time to propose, to make some policy making proposals. I think this is something that it's in the core to make stronger democracies. Because monitoring and assessment and controlling, it's maybe a small element, but it's something quite important, and I think we need to keep it. It's not the only one. But I think exactly in the times that we live, not only in Greece, but in Europe, of really mistrust and really not a good relation between civil society and the traditional political institutions, I think is something that we need to take care and to develop more. Some comments now for the political impact of this kind of project that also derives from our experience from another project that we did together with Commonspace, the municipality participatory budget, is that the political impact of what's our target, to deepen democracy, to make people participate, etc. It has to do also of who is initiate these processes. Is there a municipality or any central government that include this kind of tools in a more general plan of open the governance? So have they take any decision to really open and emancipate people to participate in order to change the power system? Or is just a technocratic way to open a dialogue that the people consult? I think this is something that came from research all over Europe, but when the people feel that their participation has a meaning and they have a decisive role and not just a consultation role, then the people, they get motivated and mobilized to participate. So the political will also, as Dimitri said, but not only in the legal point of view of institution, but the political will to really make some open governance space to the people, in order not to be fragmented, not to be just one activity, but to be integrated in a political plan, let's say. Another point I would like to raise is if from the participation of the people, the elected are committed, if they take the decision to leave back some powers and to give really some space to the people to have a decisive role. So the participation of the people has a meaning only when they feel, as we saw from the research, that when the institution, they leave back some powers and some space to reconciliate this, some bridges between the civil society and the institutions. Another topic I would like to raise is regarding the social impact of these processes, because we talk a lot how we can mobilize, etc. The discussion until now, it was focused quite to individuals, how individuals can participate. But I think when we speak about collective action or to transform things as this kind of tools that would like to empower democratical process, or as Konstantinos said at his first presentation, how to change in social and power and governance relation, I think we need to talk about social groups and not so much about individuals. So also from the research and also from the everyday life, we see that to create some physical spaces, some real spaces for the people to gather in order in their everyday life to practice democracy, to learn, to discuss, to exchange ideas, and to form a collective identity. And then they have the power to change some things, intervening in the policy making of their city or their country. I think it really works. And also in local worlds, we saw it with the workshops they did. So how many people they were gathered all together to practice and to challenge also the thinking of the way of the things are getting done and how we can do it in a more interventional, let's say, way. Another point is if participation could also target to change the social relations among the people, because in our societies, the last, the last 20 years, 30 years, we can see that the people, not last the years, after in this area that the market and the economy is so ahead, we can see that the relations of the people are more focused to the exchange of information, exchange of things, market and everything. But the issue is how we can reconcile this social relation to have more mutual bonds of sharing, of shared beliefs, And this is the way that the civil society becomes stronger in order to participate actively and in a meaning to change the governance, to change the governance in the local authorities or in a more national level. And my last point, it could be regarding the inclusiveness. Many times we put like priority to open democracy or to open the processes, so the more underrepresented people to really have a space to be more present. Do we really have that in mind? I mean, in this kind of tools, in this kind of processes, who is actually participating? Maybe also because of the digital, but also who has access to the information. I think there is some challenge to really reach the people, but they're really presented in our political system, like maybe women, migrants, people with a lower educational background. And how we can make coalitions and some alliances with their representatives, with their cultural also, with their cultural clubs or everything, in order that it's gonna be these processes as a step for them to be more active. Otherwise, I think we put a trap to all this concept. And finally, the active people, they just find another way to be more active in order to control, monitor, and participate in the policy making. So maybe it's not just a question, but our worries from a sociological point of view is finally who has access to all these participatory processes, and what care we need, what effort we need to integrate it in our planning and designing processes in order to really integrate it, social groups that we don't see in our everyday life, we don't have contact, they're out of our social groups, but they are the ones that they need it more in order to have more inclusive, let's say, democracy, etc. So I would like also to mention one more time how we could be more open and to have in mind the civil society, not like a gathering of individuals, but a gathering of social interests, of social groups, but they're struggling also each other in order to give more space and in order also to have more sustainable and democratic processes. And I mentioned a lot democracy because I think this is the main issue of local votes and participatory lab and participatory in general. That's my comments. Thank you.
So thank you very much. Okay, we have some time for questions and comments before making a small closing. So if anybody wants to ask something or share thoughts, please do so. You can use the chat or just raise your hands. Maybe also the partners from the TESI project would like to comment. I think we are thinking of what Georgia said. I'm still there personally. Okay, maybe as you think, if you want to ask something, just ask. I'm going to say thank you all for being here. Thank you all, especially the people that have spoken. This is the link for doc, by the way. And I hope what we tried to do was under the theme of participatory design to give a little bit of everything of where we are in Greece. So I would like to ask once again, there is an evaluation form. I just put it there. We will send it also to help us identify your thoughts because it's difficult to have here a discussion around amongst all of them. For us, for DAISY Group and for the TESI project, of course, the participatory design is something we are very keen of. That's why it will be part of the master program as a laboratory. So it's something when talking about social innovation, we don't think that we can separate it somehow. So if you want a last comment by something, something. No? So then I will wish you all a good afternoon. And thank you again for being here. Thank you again for sharing your project and your thoughts.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.